Hi, everyone. I'm here with Christine Berry of Berry Campbell. And Christine, I'm so happy to see you and hear all about what you think of your own gallery and your own exhibition. So, why don't you tell us about what the mission of Berry Campbell is all about?
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Debbie. This is so much fun. Barry Campbell is, I guess, a dream come true for me. I studied art history. So did Martha Campbell, my business partner. We worked for a big Midtown gallery for many years, and our boss was retiring. And Martha and I, had conversations. Could we be able to have our own gallery? And I guess after a martini or so here and there, we said, you know what? I think we can do this. And so in 2013, we opened up our first space in Chelsea on 24th Street. And 9 years later, we've now grown from a 2,000 square foot space to a 9,000 square foot space.
And I have to say, I remember when you were in the smaller space, and to see you in this big space, it is so glamorous and so exciting. You're just getting a little view of it behind you, but it's a beautiful, beautiful spot.
This is just our library. So we have beautiful exhibition space. We have beautiful storage space. We have offices. We have a kitchen for everyone to sit down at. It's beautiful. And, the art looked good in our other space. The art looks incredible in this space. So please everybody come in and see it actually in person someday.
And what is the mission, the goal of the type of artwork that you're looking for?
So when Martha and I started the gallery, it's such an interesting prospect because you have to find artists and estates that you want to represent. And Martha and I had a real love of the mid-century time. And we were looking for artists that maybe were overlooked, that were participating in major exhibitions in the 1950s, but for whatever reason, maybe it's because they were a woman or they were African American or they lived somewhere beyond New York. Why is it that they were known and not known or never known? And so that's really our love. And so we would look, we would find these artists' names. We would look in books at these big exhibitions, and then we would say, who is this name? And often it was a woman. And then from there, you have to go look at the art. So it's not to say that every artist is worth sort of revisiting, but I think once you see the art, and then we would make phone calls and meet the estates and would go look at the art and say, my gosh, most of the time it was a treasure trove of artists like Yvonne Thomas, Pearl Fine, talking about women who were in the 1951 9th Street show, and their names are semi-forgotten. The good news is people are catching on now. And so there's museum shows revisiting. But I think as two women art dealers and gallery owners, it meant something to us to have a mission to carry on legacy and to promote people that are sort of underdogs.
That's such an admirable mission to have, and being a woman, I totally understand how you feel about that, because we are so unrecognized, and it's always exciting to start being recognized. So now the artist in the exhibition that you have on now, she's 95, so she's being recognized now.
Finally, yes, now. I mean, Lillian Thomas Burwell is a really interesting woman. She's an inspiration to us, really. I first saw her work. I was in a museum in St. Petersburg, Florida, and there was a show called Magnetic Fields, and it was African American women abstract artists. And it was just that all those words, that means something. And that in itself kind of is a smaller group or lesser recognized. And I saw one of her wall pieces, these sculptural thing, and I thought, my gosh, who is this woman? So I had a client who owned one. And actually, I think his name might have been on the card that he had loaned the thing. So I called him up and he's like, oh my gosh, Lillian, she's perfect for your program. You should work with Lillian. So through somebody, he reached out, and Lillian Burwell said, no, she did not want to meet Berry Campbell. She was not interested in working with a gallery. And I was like, what? It's, rare that we get turned down. So, I saw her work again somewhere a year later, and I said, could you please call back and tell her that we're not like what she's thinking. I'm pretty sure we're different than her idea of an art dealer. We want to tell her about our program. So she agreed. And during the height of the pandemic, Martha and I drove down to Highland Beach, Maryland, and she wanted us to stay in her house for the weekend
Oh my
and really get to know her. So we actually hadn't been around each other. We were all separate, and we took the swab and did. I said, "Oh my gosh, we're going to kill Lillian Burwell." I was nervous, and went into her house and saw these beautiful paintings and sculpture. And she's an arts educator. This is what her fear was, is that she really was not about selling art. That was not what was important to her. Teaching and creating and sharing. And so really how we came to an agreement was, I said to her, when we do a show like this, the people, all kinds of people are going to come in to see this show, young, old, museums, artists, everybody. And so that was really when she said, okay, I agree that I will show Barry Campbell. So we're really her first gallery representation. She's shown in museums her whole life, but never a commercial gallery. So we're thrilled and honored to work with her.
And the way you have the installation, the curated show set up is so nice, because you have the two-dimensional paintings sometimes next to the three-dimensional sculptural paintings. And so it is a learning process, because you could see how she took this technique and sort of merged it into her own individual style.
Yes, that's what I liked about her. It's not only paintings. The paintings are beautiful, but my goodness, just this idea of that she was making wall sculpture. And it really came out of, there was a painting that she had messed up, and she cut a piece, she cut the piece she didn't like out of the canvas, and that made a shape that was unusual. And in her head, she was like, wait, I don't have to make things that are flat or square. And that's how it really bloomed. And I love it, because really to have to think about references of who else is making wall sculpture like this. We can think about Linda Banglis and maybe Elizabeth Murray, but there's not a lot of women that are working. And I just love that she is so creative and came up with this on her own. They're really incredible. And it was important to me to show them not sort of segregated in different rooms, to show how these beautiful organic shapes all really work together. It's all the same idea, just different media.
Well, thank you so much for explaining a little bit about the artist, your gallery, and what the experience is walking into your gallery to see the art. So this particular segment is obviously virtual, but we'll be coming in person as well. So thank you so much, Christine. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. My pleasure. And please do come visit.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.